Hello and a warm welcome to the show. I'm Sally Jastrzębska, and tonight you're tuning into a unique rhythm, Polish jazz. We begin with the first ever Polish Jazz Festival in London, a landmark event celebrating Poland's jazz heritage. The festival brought together some of the most exciting musicians from Poland and the UK, offering audiences a blend of tradition and modernity. Our reporter Karolina Szapland has more.
We are at Cadogan Hall in London.
Where a pianist, Leszek Możdżer, and a singer, Anna Maria Jopek, two of Poland's most famous jazz artists, are drawing a full house. The crowd is a true London mix, Poles of all generations intermingled with Brits born and bred.
I spent the last 6 weeks on Everest supporting Andrzej Bargiel in his unique attempt to climb and ski Everest without oxygen, which he succeeded. And I flew back from Kathmandu yesterday and Warsaw this morning just to be here because I really, really wanted to come to this concert.
I'm just a huge fan of jazz music in general, and I like anything that's new.
My biggest role is Leszek Możdżer. I've been a huge fan of his music for a number of years, so I've taken every single opportunity to see him play in London.
Leszek Możdżer told us earlier about what Polish jazz meant to him.
Polish jazz is a very strong trademark, and in Poland we've got a lot of really amazing, very creative, powerful musicians, starting with Tomasz Stańko, Zbigniew Namysłowski and all that, passing by generation. And now the amount of Polish musicians is so huge that you cannot really understand what's going on. There are so many fantastic musicians that it's slowly becoming a problem.
And the festival's director, Łukasz Droździel, explains how the idea first came about.
It's nothing more than bringing many great artists who show up for concerts here anyway, because London is a mecca for jazz, but simply recognizing that the Polish pattern of greatness in jazz and bringing it all together in a series of concerts to celebrate Polish music.
The strong response to this festival, and not just from the Polish diaspora, shows the continuing appeal of Polish jazz and its role in the cultural exchange. For TVP World, I'm Karolina Szapland.
A real celebration of talent and tradition. But how did it all begin? Who were the founding fathers of this unique sound, and how did the term Polish jazz become recognized far beyond the country's borders? Here's a report.
From the 1950s to today, jazz in Poland has swayed crowds and filled concert halls, leaving both local and foreign audiences spellbound. It all started before World War II, when legendary Polish writer Leopold Tyrmand got hooked on Duke Ellington's music in Paris's Au Club de France in 1938. Tyrmand survived both World War II and the Stalinist era, when jazz was branded as imperialist. But once Uncle Stalin kicked the bucket, Tyrmand, a beatnik in an almost Kerouac style, turned it all around in 1956, organizing what came to be the legendary Sopot Jazz Festival. We had the privilege to hear the story from Paweł Brodowski, the editor-in-chief of Poland's longest-running jazz magazine, Jazz Forum.
Young people from all over Poland, they took over the town. There was, of course, riots, there were street disturbances, there were scandals. That was the real start of jazz in Poland.
It was a watershed moment for Polish jazz. And the people who started it came to be known as the founding fathers of the movement. Saxophone player Jerzy Duduś Matuszkiewicz, pianist Andrzej Trzaskowski, father of Warsaw Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski, and the composer of the memorably eerie soundtrack for Rosemary's Baby, Krzysztof Komeda. The communist authorities obviously put a stop to the revelries. Forced from Sopot's seaside stages in 1958, the gig found a new home in Warsaw's student clubs, taking on the name of Jazz Jamboree, created by none other than Tyrmand himself. The same year, the Dave Brubeck Quartet embarked on a nationwide tour of Poland. Events like these were unheard of in the middle of the Cold War. A year later, Willis Conover, the legendary MC of Voice of America's Jazz Hour, arrived in Warsaw for a special concert at the National Philharmonic.
The concert was released under the title Willis Conover Meets Polish Jazz. And this is the first time these two words came together.
But hold on. What is Polish jazz actually?
What makes Polish jazz so recognizable in all over the world is the specific mixture of harmonic, which is highly influenced by classical music, melody that comes sometimes from folk music, and of course sound, this gloomy, foggy sound, which roots we can looking in Tomasz Stańko music, Komeda's music, or even Chopin.
Speaking of Komeda, his 1966 album Astigmatic, recorded with jazz mavericks Zbigniew Namysłowski and Tomasz Stańko, was
considered to be #1 Polish jazz album in Poland, but also perceived from outside. This is it's a masterpiece.
Polish jazz thrived in the 1960s and 70s. Paradoxically, it was financed both by the US State Department and the communist regime in Poland, with each party turning the blind eye to the other's dealings. But in the 1980s, the army took over, and in 1981 imposed martial law. Still, Polish jazz survived again, and re-emerged with Miles Davis's legendary 1983 show in Warsaw.
It was a shock. This was the single most important jazz event in Poland. Miles Davis, jazz god, was playing with us, and we are there.
Today, a new generation carries the torch with a true global sensation on the keys, Leszek Możdżer. The venues may have changed, but the spirit remains.
Polish jazz has a proud history, but what about today? Is it still alive and evolving? How do contemporary artists balance the classics with new experimental forms? Maciej Jastrzębski looked into this.
It's a full house at the Teatr Wielki National Opera's main hall, and the pool is the Chopin University Big Band, cooking jazz as it has since 2007.
It's really timeless, so you can travel in time, but you can travel into the future as well.
But can Polish jazz really stand the test of time, and what challenges does it face? We asked Piotr Kostrzewa, the big band's leader.
Problem with Polish jazz now, it's not with the artists, but the places. We don't have enough places to play.
The usual answer is an online music platform, which is not the same as jamming with a real person. And lastly, jazz's biggest weakness is just the flip side of its strongest suit.
Every genre it's connected to another. You can play one style and find the same patterns in another.
Hoping to deepen our research on the status of Polish jazz, we decided to enter the genre's original habitat, the underground.
It's not like musicians aren't jamming together. Take the SPATiF clubs, Wednesday night jams in Warsaw, or the Bardzo Club. Other venues, not excluding this vinyl record shop where you'll find live show nearly every week.
Now, post-Cold War, Polish students travel the Iron Curtain-free world and bring home different hues of jazz.
Think Copenhagen and Odense. For years, Scandinavia has been a very popular destination, though these days, students pick Switzerland and the Netherlands instead. What they bring back is plenty of inspiration.
Talking about Danish musical inspirations.
think the first one was Lars Danielsson, the double bassist and cellist, playing with Leszek Możdżer.
But apart from inspirations, what Polish students bring home are colleagues, making many Polish jazz gigs truly boundless, in line with the genre's creed of freedom.
Yes, there is a future for jazz, and we enjoy it.
You too can enjoy it, visiting Warsaw and finding out whether Polish jazz is alive or preserved in formaldehyde.
Now that you've explored Polish jazz, its history, its sound, and the people behind it, it's time to put that knowledge into practice. So where can you go in Warsaw to experience live jazz today? Here's our tour.
It's Friday night in Warsaw, and as the wind sharpens, jazz venues still hold their grip on the heartbeats of those who listen. Tonight's crowd has gathered under the spell of Deli Sosimi, who's bringing jazz energy improvisation into the Afrobeat and Polish contexts. In 2020, Deli performed with Polish bassist Radek Bond-Bednarz alongside other Polish jazz musicians at the Eclectic Session Festival in Wrocław.
Bring it down. We had a blast. We spent time working out the music, working on the music, assimilating the vibes, and I did say to them that, look, this is Afrobeat, but I understand you're coming from a different background than me, but the idea is freedom.
With Afrobeat icons like Deli, Jassmine continues in the spirit of Poland's legendary Jazz Jamboree festival, pulling in international stars like a cosmic gravity well.
What's most important for us is the magic of a live show, the dialogue between the musician and the audience.
Now, are people crowding the club just for the notes and tunes? Warsaw offers a whole variety of jazz feasts. In Bardzo, muses intermingle. The paintings on the walls, they belong to drummer Gniewomir's father, while he himself is taking jazz to a cyberpunkish dimension in his upcoming album, Futuropolis.
I take my jazz backgrounds to modern situation, and I play on the stage of drums, and I improvise with AI.
SPATiF, by contrast, is Warsaw's downtown den, where the air smells of smoking 1990s nostalgia.
Free entry every Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. You want to chill a bit with music, you come here. And I just love jazz. That's why I come here.
The band looks really nice, so we will later go and see it.
Tonight, the stage belongs to Kumquat, young, zesty up-and-comers of Polish jazz.
Our initiative consolidates various social groups and generations. We've got scores of young people, jazz enthusiasts, adults, retired people visiting, and I'm grateful for that.
And once you unwind, be it in Jassmine, Bardzo, SPATiF, or some tucked-away cellar, let Warsaw's jazz carry you home.
And now it's time for Culture Beats. The Warsaw Film Festival steps into a new decade with its 41st edition, and it's set to satisfy even the most demanding cinema lovers. This year's program features over 100 feature films and over 50 shorts. One of the highlights is the premiere of a documentary by Andrzej Miękus, War on Art, a powerful story about the extraordinary operation to save millions of priceless works from 150 Ukrainian museums during Russia's invasion. The war in Ukraine is also a theme at the 30th edition of the Konfrontacje Teatralne Festival, currently underway in Lublin, one of the most important theatre events in eastern Poland. And with this, we conclude Pulse of Culture. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.